Happy Friday, guys. Kevin Cage back with another XRP update. Hope all is well. In this video, we're going to do some rapid fire news over recent XRP developments, the Ripple lawsuit, and the entire digital asset space. And at the end of this one, we'll even talk a little bit about the total crypto market cap, talking about how far we've come and what we could expect in the months ahead. I'm beyond excited, and let's dive in. So I want to start off with a few quick points as a quick refresher from this recent Reuters article for Ripple. So keep in mind, Ripple, the blockchain firm, sees no fallout in their Asian Pacific business, the APAC region, after being sued by the US SEC. The company CEO Brad said on Friday, in late December, the SEC charged Ripple, which is associated with crypto XRP, with conducting a $1.3 billion unregistered securities offering. After that, the the top US crypto exchange Coinbase then shut down trading in XRP, which is the world's 7th largest crypto by market cap. Now, something interesting to note, despite all of that, Ripple has signed more than 15 contracts with banks globally since the SEC brought its lawsuit, Garlinghouse said, adding that he believed the lack of clarity in the US has been a hindrance to innovation. I think we can agree on that across the entire board for all of cryptocurrency. The lack of clarity, meaning there's not specific guidelines or rules of what you can and cannot do. It's very opaque, it's unclear, so it's hindering innovation because nobody wants to get fined, nobody wants to get in trouble for doing something or, malpractice, so they have to keep that in mind for the future. So it's pushing all this innovation into the UK, the UAE, Japan, Singapore, and this innovation will not wait. The reason that the US, as has been said many times by a lot of people, Brad Garlinghouse, Michael Arrington, you name it, they've said that one of the big reasons the US has been so successful, at least during the dot-com bubble in the 90s, is because they had a clear regulatory framework that actually functioned so that everybody knew what they could and could not do. So they really have to step up. I feel bad for people like Hester Peirce of the SEC. And of course, I always butcher her last name. I've been doing it for like 2 years, but I believe it's pronounced Peirce. I always say Pierce. But all right, so I wanted to point that out, and we can see right here, we're seeing the activity of XRP liquidity has grown outside of the US and continues to grow in Asia, certainly in Japan. So we have Japan's FSA, we have the UK's FCA, we have Singapore, we have a variety of these countries that have all declared XRP to not be a security. Then you can also consider, besides the growing volume and $2 billion of notional value that XRP has done for real, live financial institutions, that 80 to 90% of all the volume and 80 to 90% of all of their customers exists outside of the United States. You cannot put XRP back in a bottle. The SEC had 8 years to do something about it. The sooner we can, just like Jeremy Hogan, the lawyer, says, the sooner XRP and Ripple, the company, can get beat up by the bully SEC, the better we can start healing, and finally, we can finally get moving once and for all. All right? So we have this little You Today article, not my favorite website, but just talking about the 15 new contracts. There were a few points that I wanted to reference in here. So we can see even Japan's, the Financial Services Agency said it did not view the token as a security, talking about XRP. We've talked about, regulators in Singapore, whether it's the Monetary Authority of Singapore, you can talk about SAMA, the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, the UK, and the Financial Conduct Authority, all of these groups, guys. So it's not just like it's one group. I'm saying that there's a variety of countries that are leveraging on-demand liquidity, or at least have plans to do so, and they're continuously adding people to RippleNet. Yes, I know, they're not all using ODL today, but once there's clarity, what do you think happens? We have new products, we have line of credit, we have Flare networks coming live, there's just so many things. So this, in my opinion, would be one of the dumbest times for me to just give up on XRP because I'm tired of waiting. All right, pointing that out. So we'll keep moving here. Right here, so Ripple founder funds upgrades in San Francisco, small business zone. So we have Chris Larson, keep in mind, founder of Prosper and all those huge loan companies back in the day. The first one to kind of create a website where you didn't have to pay for a credit score. So he's been all about, adding value to the world. And keep in mind, we can see former CEO of Ripple, and he's the executive chairman, has partnered with the city of San Francisco to personally donate $1.7 million toward a new nonprofit to help small businesses recover from the pandemic. Awesome. Next, a few stats, guys. A recent Visa survey shared with Brazilian media revealed that 25% of all credit card users in Latin America would like to experiment with cryptocurrency if payment processors gave them the opportunity to do so. Well, time and time again, we are seeing Stripe, we're seeing PayPal and BitGo and all of these huge custodians, gateways, merchants, you name it, getting involved in this crypto space. So what do you think happens in the years ahead as, of course, COVID, this pandemic, everything is accelerating digitalization, And frankly, we've come a long way, but it still feels like it's taking forever. We can see the third Visa COVID-19 Consumer Sentiment Survey sought to assess consumer trends during the lockdown. This survey revealed that 78% of consumers expect to use new payment technologies in the future, including crypto. We're going to talk about a few other stats in this one related to the continents of Africa as well, or continent of Africa. And keep in mind, the year is 2021, so we have some people in the crypto space that are just far ahead of the curve, working hard. Like, we literally have the ability, like with Uniswap even early last year, to do crowdfunding or crowdfund liquidity through decentralized pools utilizing smart contracts, which essentially is just a trustless way to get rid of middlemen. Meanwhile, we have the dinosaurs in, American regulators, or really just these people that are not stepping up. The stock market is still open 24/7. Crypto's 24/7. The stock market is not open 24/7. We can, physically still fly money in a suitcase to some destinations compared to other regions. It still takes 2 to 6 days, 2 to 3 days to send wires to certain countries that do not have direct corridors in direct routes where you're going through, 5 middlemen or 14 intermediaries, which is just ridiculous. So this will catch up, and we're going to keep talking about it in the best way to, really be a part of the change is to bring awareness to all these silly stats. So that's why I kind of talk about it on this channel, because I think it's important to know. And I'm still waiting on my hoverboard, so can't wait for that to happen. All right, right here. Which makes sense considering that recent research found that about 13% of the United Kingdom's population has already invested in crypto. We've seen similar stats for the United States per even Brian Brooks, the former acting comptroller of the currency of the OCC. Right here. Now, this is not the SBI we think. This is actually the State Bank of India joins JP Morgan's blockchain payments network. So we know links. We've talked about Onyx, I believe, all of this stuff. And I know people are going to be freaking out anytime these banks work together. Not everything is an XRP killer. Believe it or not, there's going to be, private networks that may do well. And this group already has a couple hundred in this ecosystem. But remember, these walled gardens, these fragmented silos, they have issues of counterparty risk and IOUs. This is not solving the problem at hand that open source technologies like crypto solve across the board. So, this will do well. It'll bring attention to the space and, that buzzword blockchain that really is just an umbrella term for all of this now, even though DLT should be the umbrella term. This is not a bad thing. They're all focusing on reducing transaction costs, improving cross-border payments for its customers, and we're getting, just like price discovery, they're finding a product discovery. They're going to find out which products actually suit them best and why. And I cannot wait, because we are going to Web3. We're not turning back. Right here, the Central Bank of Ghana has launched a fintech regulatory and innovation live testing pilot that will give preference to projects using blockchain tech. Right here, according to this press statement, the sandbox will cover a broad spectrum of innovations in the financial services sector, targeting women and improving financial inclusion in the country. The bank is on the lookout for remittance products, cough cough, ODL, crowdfunding products and services, KYC, this is electronic, know your customers, all that compliance, AML, etc., platforms, and this is going to be huge and really just onboard people in a more streamlined fashion so it doesn't take several days. We want to be able to do it instantaneously. And this reminds me, so I've been doing a bunch of deep dives for anybody that's ever, lent crypto and earned interest, whether it's Celsius Network, Nexo, BlockFi is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm looking at different options. I know Martin Volk is kind of a pro in brainstorming ways to live off their crypto forever, live and just make passive income. So you can obviously lend out your crypto and live off that interest. Of course, you don't want to get over collateralized, or whatever the term is in the lending space. There's a lot of exciting things and a lot of ways that you can really be clever and outmaneuver the existing financial system. So I'm excited to look at that. And keep in mind, with crypto lending, what happens if you have bad credit in the past? With crypto lending, as long as you have the amount of money or crypto that you can put into collateral, if you have, the 10K that you want to put up in collateral, you're good to go. They don't care about credit scores. You can get approved within seconds compared to, waiting hours or days by banks. So it's really just it's entirely inclusive. There's no disputing that. What do you think happens, guys? Now, I know some of this stuff is very, crazy and on the leading edge, but this technology is going to stick. Now, some will flop, but the stuff that actually stays is going to change the world forever, and it already has, right? So, EKYC, that'll be huge platforms and new merchants, payment solutions for SMEs, small, medium enterprises, these businesses. And what did we talk about a few videos ago? Remember, it's not just helping consumers, but merchants, all these payment gateways, utilizing crypto and getting rid of the middlemen, they're going to be saving another, 1 to 2% on every transaction. Do you know what happens when they save that much money? Then they can actually essentially create capital efficiency and put that back into the economy or into future investments? Exactly. Now, right here, guys, this is put out by Payments. As we know, the Bank for International Settlements, the central bank of all central banks, the BIS. We know the gentleman in charge, or at least part of the innovation hub, Mr. Benoit, has literally liked tweets saying, XRP mass adoption, things like that. And, overall, you guys could say that he has a plan for XRP. Me personally, just even being conservative, he's essentially just supporting any ecosystems that are trying to innovate. And XRP is one of many, but don't be fooled, it is one of the best. And it's one of those that actually has some of the biggest utility now. There's some great blockchain platforms for the future that I'm bullish on, but you have to understand, cross-border payments is an issue today. Of course, as blockchain grows, oracles are going to be important. We're going to need interoperability, all of that. But cross-border payments, international payments, remittances, even those low-value, low-volume corridors are in demand today. Just think of regions like the UAE is just one example. So I invest in things that I essentially believe are going to radically impact the most lives, and that's what I intend to do. So I look at this on the macro, not on the daily, the 4-hour chart. I'm looking at weekly and monthly views, and I buy things and I intend to sell them at a higher price. And the rule is simple. So yeah, it just takes patience, honestly. So, right here, stablecoins are firmly on central banks' radar screens. Yawn, we've heard this time and time again. As noted in January by the BIS, 86% more than 60 central banks queried stated that they are at least studying the creation and issuance of central bank digital currencies. In terms of the mechanics, the digital currencies would act like money itself, used universally for commerce. The BIS has estimated that by 2024, 20%, so 1/5 of the world's population will access CBDCs. This is going to take forever. I cannot believe how slow banks are. Keep in mind, we're going to have a variety of bull cycles and bear cycles during this. Plenty of opportunity to make money along the way. But this is going to be happening, and it cannot be stopped. Keep in mind what happened. XRP, guys, has sound tokenomics. Do not listen to the FUD. What happened? Ripple is still putting out information, and now we're actually realizing they connect to a private ledger. So central banks, because I don't know why people think that central banks were ever going to use open source technologies all the way. They need private aspects. They still need to hide their transactions. They value privacy for their big clients as well. So what happens? Ripple goes, oh, well, we are an enabler of the Internet of Value. Let's give you exactly what you want so you have that right product fit, and we can keep scaling accordingly. So now they'll have privacy, still potentially using the XRP ledger to bridge central bank digital currencies. And keep in mind, I've even been seeing building like on the retail side. There's different types of CBDCs, wholesale, of course. That's the big boy, the big money. And, even microtransactions. They call micro payments, even like $10,000. When you look at the order books or understand the money that's flowing, we're talking, 50 million every 3 seconds in some of these networks. You could talk about Target 2 securities through the Euro system, connected directly with, of course, the company Ripple, with Task Gateway, with Temenos, the biggest banking software, or at least one of them in the world, ACI worldwide. There's just so much news to go on. I'm going to keep rambling. But anyways, let's keep moving. Right here, Hester Peirce, and that's how I'm going to say her last name because I keep butchering it. Incumbents that try to block new technology and new entrants run the risk of closing themselves off from the most interesting and dynamic parts of the world. And she attaches this, and keep in mind, we call her in this community, well, I don't call her this, but people do. They call her Crypto Mom. And I support her so much, and I do not know how she deals with these people in the SEC. I have no idea. I wish every representative was like her, at least in terms of innovation and just serving the people. Another guy, I forgot where he's a representative or senator from. You guys know. What's his name? Tom Emmer. We've shared clips. I love when he talks about blockchain. He breaks it down so that these dinosaurs in the SEC can really understand it. Same thing with Hester. So I appreciate these people, and their contributions are going to go down in history, just like Brian Brooks. All right? Because it's much more than just sending, our crypto to the moon. This is about a complete wealth transfer and building Web3, which is going to be the backbone of everything that we know today and become the bedrock of the future of society. Internet of Things, AI, machine learning, you name it, guys. Tokenizing real estate, NFTs. It's going to shake the system, and we're going to sound like lunatics, but it's going to keep happening gradually over time. All right? Right here as well. So 40% of Goldman Sachs clients, keep in mind, most of RippleNet partners, the 400, 300, even probably closer to 500 soon, they essentially are all backed by Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs has their hand in everybody's cookie jar. We can see that their clients are reported exposure almost 40% to crypto. That's crazy because we're getting a lot of mixed signals. You got some people saying Bitcoin's going to zero by JP Morgan. Then you have these guys saying Bitcoin's going to 1 million. Question everything. Every piece of news, CNBC, everything is essentially just poorly disguised promotions. And then also crypto whales. So look at this. JP Morgan survey shows 78% of institutional investors are not likely to invest in crypto. You guys can read this. He has his Medium blog as well. But nonetheless, a lot of mixed signals. All right, and finishing up, guys. So keep in mind, crypto market cap today, we are at $1.4 trillion. Bitcoin is still hovering around the 40 to 50K region. Love to see it. There's been different alts that have been popping off in the lower levels, and XRP is still at 45 cents. Now, just to give some perspective, yes, I know XRP was at 11 cents last year, and we're just waiting for this glass ceiling to get smashed. But look at how far we've come, and I think I maybe even mentioned this in the beginning, but wick to wick, and we're just on the weekly, since let's say March like 9th, March 23rd, all this time, March, all this, everybody was so depressed. And I remember seeing Ethereum at like $90 too. And right here, we've increased since then 1,500%. Even today, with that little pullback, well over 1,000%, over 1,200% for that matter. So historically, if you look at, obviously, crypto, we're going to go to a monthly just so you can kind of, well, actually, we'll leave it on a weekly because I like having more candles. You can see that we've come back here. We've never even back tested this stuff because we just went parabolic. We had altcoins, we had, the rise of Ethereum. I support all of this, and I'm so happy for the future, guys. We're just getting started. So keep in mind, historically, we have January 2018 when Bitcoin had the big move and we had the first huge alt season that kind of we all noticed, at least when we started really getting into the hundreds of billions of dollars in valuation. We can see we came down 70% retracement. Then from here, this was a big retracement over essentially, a period of a year. We have an 88% retracement. All right, but guess what? We bounced back every single time. What happened again? Then we had July 2019, we started kind of getting up, everybody's getting really bullish again, sentiment was high, all good and great, and then from there, wick to wick, we had about a 70% retracement because then we crashed from March, and March's little crash right here was just a period of weeks, and everybody was bullish, I was bullish, everything, and what happened? Came back, good, 60% plus. Now we've just absolutely skyrocketed, so the question is, I know everybody has their mixed emotions. I personally am hoping that we kind of get a nice little alt run for a few more alts that have not gone yet for the coming months. I absolutely want that. XRP is going to have its day. I will not be surprised to wake up one morning when we're, $1, $2 plus. It's just a matter of time. Obviously, conservatively, and I mean closer to short term than people think, I think we should be at $10 to $15 in a quick period. And I know that might be, sound crazy to people, but you guys anyone that thinks that's impossible does not understand what this market is going to do and how the order books could really function when there's regulatory clarity and RippleNet users really start stepping up, along with all the other use cases, even XRP with Flare networks. There's just a lot of use cases, guys. I cannot ignore that. So hypothetically, we had, 80%, 70%, 60%. Well, if we came from the top here, we even back tested this level, what is that, a 50, 60% retracement, come back here. I find it hard to believe that we'd ever come back to, 400 billion. But it's possible. I'm not going to rule it out. But gosh, to come back to those March levels, a 90% plus crash would be absolutely crazy. The only way I see that is if, in fact, Tether does implode. And I support different opinions, but ideally, we're still over 1 trillion. I'm not going to be preaching FUD. The mechanics of the market are getting stronger than ever. The US government continues to print just like every other nation. Your negative interest rates are on the way and already in many places. I just think that crypto's not going to turn back. There's going to be pullbacks and, retests of different levels. But all in all, the alts that serve a purpose and begin growing utility are not going to be, coming down. And if there are any crashes or pullbacks, it's going to be relatively short-lived. Everything that I invest in, I vet thoroughly because crypto's already risky enough. I'm not going to try to gamble too much because arguably everybody could say this is gambling. But yes, I believe this market, just like even Ripple, the company projected, 12 trillion in market cap. This is going to happen, and the genie's not going to come back in the bottle. And when in doubt, zoom out. So I mean, even if you look at and just go to the monthly, you can see just a beautiful trend line right here. You guys could draw a channel if you'd like and see what it would look like. So like, let me just do a really sloppy one before I finish this video. I mean, you can do whatever you want. Let's see, we could even go like this or something. And we can go like down here and just draw a little sloppy channel. I'm going to move it up. So I know this is super sloppy, but I mean, even if we did backtest and go back, and sometimes we can come in and out, I still think that there's tremendous upside in the years ahead. I know people believe, because obviously the global stock market surpassed 100 trillion with the T. The real estate market, yeah, you could argue 200 trillion, but I know the majority of that is residential based, and commercial real estate's going to be easier to tokenize. There's just a lot of numbers. Of course, you can talk about the derivatives market, highly intangible, low end on average, you could say 700 trillion, high end over a quadrillion. My argument is, yeah, we can be in the dozens of trillions in the future serving, or solving real problems for real customers, guys. So I'm not going to be afraid of any of this stuff. I'm simply going to be waiting, sitting at the R3 pivot. You guys can do whatever you want with the fib extensions, the total market cap. You can do the total market cap and exclude Bitcoin, or you can just look at your alt. Looking at the XRP chart on the macro, I have no fear, and I'm just confident, and it's simply just another day of waiting. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Tune into the next one, and have a great night.